And welcome to another edition of the Nerdy Agent Podcast on air. AJ was wondering
Brought
what
to
that
you
was.
by Multicolored Fidgets.
You know,
They're my favorite. Until they lose their snap, then I swap them out.
so I have that same one actually. For anyone that doesn't know us, we have excess energy. Some would say it's an ADHD family here, but
I actually don't believe I have ADHD.
there you go. We'll get into that later. But I have these fidgets too, and I love to play with them because they keep my energy kind of in check. If you're listening to this and you hate the sound of this, then that's fine.
Do you like this config? This is my favorite configuration.
Mine are bigger, and I make it into a little.
dislike how
I make it
small
into
it
a little
is.
house.
Oh, yeah,
I
the
can show
house
you
is
the
a
house.
fun feature.
So I always will turn into a house, then the house goes into a W, and then on we go. But anyways, this is a great intro.
Left-hand win column. What's the? You give me your trivia. Josh has a trivia question.
It's like a little bit, I guess. So because we're like I said, we're energized today. So last time on the podcast, you guys remember what we talked about?
Kevin Warsh.
We talked and the end of the war. Do you remember that? That was like the day after the war was over, right?
It's back.
My bit for you, Luke, was like, what would Tim Robinson have said about if he listened to that podcast?
What would he have said? I don't know.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
Are you sure about that? We should. That'd be. No, we don't have people editing these the same as we.
Jason put.
Sure about that?
You sure?
That's
It's
good.
just
It's nothing's changed.
We're
back.
I mean, we kind of said that in the last podcast. We're like, we say the war's over, but is it really over? And now we're a month past that last recording, and we're kind of almost in a worse spot than we were in beforehand. It sounds like there's even more blockades happening now as of today.
Iran said this is an all-out war.
There's a militia now blockading other straits.
I heard
that Iran
The
is.
Saudi Strait.
Yeah, so I don't know what is going on, but like
And
oil
they
reserves.
Iran bombed in Bahrain. They bombed an Amazon facility. Yeah, they blew it up.
Who did?
Iran did.
Whose Amazon facility?
Amazon's
Where?
in Bahrain.
What's
Bahrain?
What's
Bahrain?
Bahrain, it's in the Middle East.
Is
Yeah.
it in Iran?
No.
It's in Iraq?
They bombed their own country.
I don't know. They bombed an Amazon facility because they were like, it's an American company.
We're very fortunate.
We are crushing
to
it
be
on this podcast.
insulated in the United States here.
Bahrain is a country.
Oh, there you go. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Oh, it's an island.
It's in West Asia.
So the war is still going on. Nothing's really changed.
We're
I think the
learning
rates
more about
jumped.
Yeah.
I think the rates.
It's a geography podcast.
The rates jumped since we talked. They were maybe like
6.71
6 and
right
a
now.
quarter. They went up 0.5%. I now have a question for you though, because we can't start until this question's asked. Because I put my hat on this morning and I thought I'm not really paying attention. Who's the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings this year? Do you guys know?
Kyler Murray.
Is it really?
Well, they haven't publicly said it yet, but yeah, every indication points to that. I don't follow football much anymore. I've gotten too into baseball to the point where football and baseball converge, and then there's also this component of football. I watch it. I'm like, I don't know.
It's fun
sure.
when we're good. When we're good, it's really fun.
50 years from now, I'm not sure football will exist.
Maybe it'll be flag football.
They're going to learn at some point that we're just creating modern gladiators, and their brains are
Skull-crushing.
getting destroyed.
Well, we already did learn that.
But I think at some point that may
And-
override the desire to
And
play this
LeBron
game.
James is
Signing with the Timberwolves.
okay.
Absolutely.
We'll
I
see in a
saw
month.
So this is another rant. I went on X yesterday to look something up, and the first post that it posted to mine was LeBron James is signing with Philadelphia, and it said Shams was on the top of that, right? I don't follow a non-Shams account. I follow actual Shams. And so I'm like, oh, this sucks. He's going to Philadelphia. It was a fake Shams account that got fed into my Twitter feed that I don't follow.
Someone might say it's a
Sham.
Shams
But like,
account.
why do we have these things like Facebook and Instagram or whatever, right? We sign up for them. We follow people. We create friendships. We like actually curate our feed theoretically. And then all they do is give me stuff that I didn't ask for.
Yeah.
Why?
So you cannot get me to a secondary location, but when I see important news, I need a secondary source. I've had so many
because
people
of
send me
this.
links. They're like, LeBron signs with the Timberwolves. I go straight to Twitter, not on Twitter. It didn't happen.
But like, why do I even
if I
follow?
don't see a secondary source on something, it didn't happen.
Why do I even follow regular Shams?
I don't know.
Because I can get Shams.
Exactly. It's
feeding
correct.
me things
Yeah.
on my feed when I don't follow
You
Shams.
can swipe over to the people you follow only. It's a fun trick.
That's a
I can show
thing.
you.
Well, there you go. Now another thing that I'm old.
Well, getting into real estate, I think especially between, I mean, this last weekend I had one that was a little bonkers at like 35 showings on it, but the majority of the marketplace is a little bit slower than last time we talked. I mean,
Much
that was
slower.
what, end of June, early June. It's July 21st.
We got two rentals on the market if anyone wants to buy them.
And they're on the market and they have not sold, and they're worse than Virginia, in my opinion. Or they're better than Virginia. Than,
the one that hasn't sold, yeah.
And so today we wanted to talk about what the market's looking like, what you can do in a down market. Do you guys want to start with like, buyers and sellers and then business practices as well? So should we just riff on like, if you have a buyer right now, what are you doing to adjust your strategies? And maybe they've been looking in the beginning of the year and they lost a couple times, or maybe they're just going to get started in the next couple months.
Well, I think what's interesting is like it seems like the market is a game of who's going to blink first right now.
Yep.
And the sellers, depending on their situation, seem like they're willing to hold on quite a bit longer than they probably should. Now, every situation's very dependent on the exact scenario you're dealing with, right? So I have 10 on the market right now, 11 on the market right now. And so that's great. But they're not all selling right away, right? So I'm having lots of conversations with those folks about what do we do, right? And in some of them, it's like, okay, we had one showing in the first 14 days. It's like, probably need a price adjustment. But if I've had 3 open houses on one and I've got 6 showings and 12 people through open houses in the first 2 weeks, a little bit different, right? Like, I don't know that I necessarily have to cut the price. And if we did cut the price, what would we even cut it by right now? Do we cut it by 5%? Do we cut it by 2%? Like, do you drop 10,000, 25,000? How do you actually think about those things? So I think it's, it's an interesting conversation to have with those sellers. And I think for those buyers, it's like, do you wait till something drops if you like it? Like if it's not getting any action, do you move quickly? It's a super, super strange market right now, I would say.
Well, I think it's at a high level, really important to like understand what we've been talking about for this very reason. Because if you're thinking about the market and watching the market and understanding what's happening in the world and understanding how it's trickling through to all the other components, and then being very attentive to market activity, you can kind of see these things coming, and then you can proactively communicate to your clients what's going on in a way that makes sense to them, but also really helps you as the agent helping these clients, right? If you have sellers right now, if you haven't been proactive, they are expecting something that is not coming for them. And then you find yourself in a really bad situation. So, like similarly, I only have 6. I got to work harder.
6?
Yeah, only 6 on the market right now. 2 of them are ours, so 4 outside of us. But
I have a couple on too.
Yeah,
well, I have 13 if I'm a Coco listed.
Yeah,
you're not.
You're off.
Actually.
You're off. Anyways, the
point.
point is, if you haven't set those expectations ahead of time or been talking to them consistently about what's happening, they are going to think it's like what it was 3 months ago when it was like, I put a house on the market, I sell a house. I put a house on the market, I sell a house. And so you find yourself like looking really bad and creating a bad client experience. On the flip side of that, if you have buyers and you've been having these conversations, which I've been having for the last like month with people of like, yeah, I think it's going to get pretty good for you. Like, you don't need to go rush out right now and buy in 6 offers because it's going to start slowing, and it started kind of showing signs of slowing. So there's no rush right now. In those scenarios, then you actually create a different client experience because you've been communicating with them kind of at the market changes that have been coming. So I think that's like the communication side is the most important part in my mind on this stuff. And it's why it's so important to be monitoring what's happening with the market.
The question is, like, we've been talking about this. I mean, we've been doing this podcast for 3 years. How long? 4
Maybe
years?
even longer.
We've been talking about, when is it going to slow down, right? I mean, remember 2022, the rates went from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 in 6 months. And we're like, man, oh man, the prices have to go down.
Yep.
Right? But this leads into the conversation we were having before this, right? Of like, is real estate more inelastic to...
What does that mean?
Inelastic means it's less impacted by going up in like the demand is not as impacted by price shocks.
So like supply and demand curves, that whole concept of supply and demand curves, where they meet is essentially like the market price. Inelastic just means that the curve is more straight up. So like it doesn't matter what the price is, the demand continues to exist in the same way. Mm-hmm. So a good example
is
100%
inelastic.
Yeah, like a good example that people point to is like pharmaceuticals. So like people get all mad about pharma companies raising prices, But like when it comes to EpiPen, for example, they keep raising the price because EpiPen's a very inelastic drug.
You have to have it.
If you have a kid who's going to die if they get
You're going to buy it.
stung by a bee, you're going to buy it no matter what the price is. So that's like inelasticity.
Let's not talk about how sad that reality
It's a really shitty reality, right?
Healthcare is the same way.
Healthcare is very inelastic, and why it's become a big problem in our country. We can have a different dialogue on that another time.
Whereas like milk, like if milk goes up,
you just won't buy
I would
it.
say gas is somewhat inelastic too. If you have to drive your car, you may change your habits a little bit, right? But if milk went from $4 to $40 for a gallon of milk, nobody would buy any milk. It would just shift to not having milk.
I would drink water out of the fountain.
Why talk about why real estate is looking inelastic?
Because it's a necessity. And so anything that's a necessity is going to have some inelasticity to it. Anything that's not a necessity, call it air travel, you see the market start to, as prices of flights go up, people stop flying. Like you just be like, I'll drive or not go.
Now,
the only component of real estate is you can create more of it. So as prices go up, theoretically, people are going to try to create more of it in order to get in on it because it's good to have it if prices are high. The problem is the process of creating more, the way in which it ebbs and flows, all those components result in the creation of real estate being slow. It's not like they're like, let's just milk more cows today and create more milk because milk prices are high.
And I got you guys on a tangent there. Do you remember where you were going with real estate being inelastic?
Well, I think it's interesting that we've been waiting, right? Like it was 3%. It went to 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. Okay.
When it hit 6 right away, I was like, its prices are going down. They have to.
They have to, right? Because you're looking at this. I mean, I even just did a quick thing on chat on my way here. When the rates went from 5.99 to 6.71 at the median sales price, what happened to a 5% down median buyer in terms of their payment? Guess how much more they're paying now? Just on that 0.7%.
Per month?
$500.
Per month.
$350.
$185.
I was going to say 100 something.
Okay, so $185. But you think about $185 spread out across 12 months, and you're at about $2,000. Okay, and you're getting taxed on that a little bit, right? So call it $500 of taxes, $2,500 of earnings to make up for the same. You're getting the same house.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. The exact same house, and so you're either and again, it's a complicated topic, right? Because people expect that rates are going to go down at some point. They're going to be able to refinance.
You have to pay $3,000, $4,000 to get the refinance, though.
And that too. So like, that was an interesting concept, right? I mean, like you probably looking at from 3% or just under 3 was where the 30-year bottomed out at like 2.5 or 2.625 to 7 at the top or 7.25. It was probably a couple $1,000s on a median house per month. And you know what people did?
They rented or moved in with mom and dad.
No, they kept buying. And and they slowed down, Josh. They did. But they didn't slow down at a clip that any mathematical problem would make any sense. But what they did is they said, we're not going on vacation this year. We're buying used stuff instead of new stuff. But we need to have a house that our family can live in. So we're going to do it. And we're just going to pay the $4,000. I know $2,000 would have been a lot better. But we're just going to pay the $4,000. And prices continued to go up. They've been going up since 2022.
I think they've been going up, 2 to 3% versus 10% in the early part. But yes, the other component, though, is it depends on who you're talking about. Because I think that the biggest component to this is the stock market, which has been on this run for a long time. And so there are people that have been in the stock market that are the haves, and there are people who have not been in the stock market who are the have-nots. And so in certain price ranges, locations, geographies, components like that, they haven't kept buying. They have started renting or they've moved back home. And so it has, like, we've seen rental stock prices, like the prices of rent have not actually gone up since then. They've been going backwards because people only have so much money that are in this specific bucket. But because the stock market has been so good, there are enough people that have money that's been set aside that they've been able to kind of keep going into real estate with that money. And because they look at the stock market, they go, I don't know if it'll continue.
But is this the moment in time? Because this has happened. I mean, we've talked about this. We've had slowdown months, and then it just like turned back around, and then it's like, then I listed a house the next month, and it got multiple offers.
It felt like it, guys. It felt like it happened like the week
2.5 years ago.
No, it felt like it happened 2 weeks ago. The week before July 4th, nothing was going on. The week after July 4th, nothing was going on. It's
kind of still that way.
Last weekend, I sold 2 listings that had been sitting on the market. One of my listings got 6 offers, and I lost in multiple offers with 2 buyers.
And so the question is, and this is what I'm saying.
It depends on the house, right? There's so many factors. That's so micro. But there's more people than there were 2 weeks ago.
On a local macro basis, did this, then maybe, right? And maybe it does just turn now, and all of a sudden the showings pick up and things start selling. But on a local macro basis, is this, we have lots of summer activities, we're going to pause on our stuff, or we re-signed a lease, or whatever it is, right? Or is it 4 full years of them paying more than they were, and they don't have the down payment funds now because they were saving up, but then, you know, they're paying $100 more for gas every month. They're paying $200 more for groceries every month. They're paying $100 more for, you know, clothing every month. Like, everything just got more and more and more expensive.
I find it hard
out of money.
I find it hard to believe that a 45-day period finally hit that trigger.
It's not that. It's like there's all these other
things. It was happening in May
things.
and June. It was chaos.
Yeah,
It was chaos.
But like,
But
what
I don't
happens
think that they got to July and they were like, they maybe just, it's just the same as it happens. That's what happened last year too.
But there's then this concept of the war. It's not actually over. Oil reserves are
think
coming
it's gonna be
down.
slower going into the end of the year.
Gas prices are
but
coming
we're still
up.
going to beat our sales compared to last year, probably.
Maybe. I mean, this
Week
month's
over
been
week.
a lot slower for us. I think it's
What's the
it's gonna be
macro stat
interesting.
on that though?
The crazy number that I got, just let me give you this on chat. I asked if you took the total number of home sales happening in the United States right now on an annualized basis, and you divided it by the total amount of housing stock, owner occupied. So give me every single condo, townhome, single family that's owned by somebody, and tell me how many of them are moving, like selling, right? So how many sales are actually happening? 4.5% is the number.
Normally the turnover is what, 6 to 8?
Well, I think you could look at that and you could argue, and again, I don't know if these statistics are accurate, but you could argue that that means that on an annualized basis right now, that we are at a rate of 20 years of owner occupied, right? 20 to 25 years of owner occupied. 22 is what that would be, I think.
Yep.
Take 100 divided by 4.5. The back, like before 2020, that number, like it was like 7 or 8 years. And after 2020, when the rates got crushed down, that number rose really quickly, and it got to like 12 or 13 years the last time I checked it. And is it currently at 20 years? Probably not, because the math is not the same, but it's rising. And that's the concerning thing is, like, I asked this same question. It's like, is this our prices going to go down, or are sales just going to go down? Right? Are we just going to see a really low sales environment?
Yep.
And I'm like, it's already the lowest sales in decades, since the 80s, I think, in the country.
Oh, in the country.
Yeah.
I only think about Minnesota. Yes. In the country. It's, yeah.
But like, so we're not trying to say all this for gloom and doom reasons. We don't know, right? We always say this. It's like we have our thoughts on where we see things going. But I think there's even more red flags than there were a month ago, right? If we can get out of this war, I think it will make things a lot easier. Like, there's
I thought we were already out of the war.
I know, I thought so too. There is an element of that's like weighing everyone down, because everyone's like, what is going on? What is going to happen? And I mean, we've even seen this, like, I don't know if on a micro level, I feel like with buyer behavior, seller behavior, like everyone seems a little more freaked out and panicked right now. All clients, like, they're all worried about things more than they were a year ago. They're all a little bit more on edge. They're all worried that the seller or buyer is trying to screw them. Like, it's just, there's more of that energy that I feel like I'm just handling on a daily basis. But like, I do think it's just interesting to kind of see where we're at and kind of give our prognostication. At the same time, to the topic of like, we are trying to figure out, like, how would I advise somebody who's a real estate agent on how to handle what's going on right now? The biggest thing is, if you are a newer agent or an agent that's not super far into this, you have access to leads. This is the perfect time to get really, really, really active. Because if you do have high intent buyers that actually want to buy a house, think of how hard you had to work in March to get them under contract and how hard you'll have to work now. It's a very different reality. Like, I've loved having listings this whole year. I've had a lot of listings. It's been great. Now I kind of like, these listings, man, it's not much fun. Mm-hmm. Whereas like my buyers, I'm like, this is going to be great. Like, this would be the least I've had to work when it comes to buyers in a long time, because there are options that are pretty good options for them that they can just pick to buy. Mm-hmm. And they can be more slow in the process if they want to, and not feel rushed to purchase a house right away. So
we've had roughly 1,000 more active listings on the market versus last year since April.
Yeah.
1,000 more. It's like,
we need, that makes sense.
10% higher on a 3-month average.
I think our sales are 8 to 10% higher on that average though in Minnesota too.
Yes, probably.
Pendings though have gone down.
Pendings have slowed, but they are on a 3-month total at 10.2%.
Yeah, so you're tracking the same. So but that's, the more listings you have, the more houses are sold. Usually,
but we've been seeing lately.
But if we see the listings increase and the showings go and the pendings go down, that's where
we're seeing pendings lag behind new listing activity, and that's been happening for quite a couple of months now.
Yep. I think the one thing too, just talking about what agents can do, I think I can't get the word in my head, but like progressive communication, communicating before your client thinks about you needing to communicate is really important.
Yep.
Telling them what needs to happen or what's going to happen or what's coming next, you got to do it really quickly. You got to do it ahead of when they reach out. We've always talked about this in general. I don't want my clients, if my clients reach out to me with a question, I'm always like, I should have sent them the answer to that question. I should have pre-answered that question because they shouldn't have to be like, well, what are we doing? Should we reach out to Luke? What is that?
Yep.
And that makes a big difference in expectation setting too. Makes a big difference in how you look. And I think the one thing, at least me personally, I run into is like, well, I just had a conversation with a seller who's selling after 3 years and pricing's not as good. And I already talked to him about that. And we were thinking, a 10K above where we're still pushing a little bit. And I was like, man, I got to put this coming soon. So I was going to call him on the way here and I didn't want to call him because obviously like who wants to tell somebody we need to sell this for $10,000 less than we were thinking. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you just have to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to press call and you got to call them and you got to get over that initial because they will at the end of the day, regardless on them feeling not good about things, because they won't feel good about it, they will appreciate somebody who's willing to tell them and be proactive. That's the word. Proactive communication. And so then I had the conversation. We're listing at the lower number because we have to. We can't list at the higher number. It's not going to work. It's a bad idea.
Well, there's only so much you can control.
And
that's the thing, like I've learned over time as an agent, it's like I don't like when things don't go the way that I like. More often than not, my clients are like, "Oh, I did pretty well. Like it went well. It was great. It was a good thing. It's now moving on." There are situations where it doesn't go as well, but in those situations, at all times, I view my role as I'm going to advise you. I'm going to give you guidance. I'm going to tell you what I think you need to know. You're going to ultimately make decisions. You're going to ultimately drive the ship where you want to drive it. If you're going to buy a duplex that I'm like, I think there's some concerns here, you still made that choice.
It's your choice.
So I'm not going to tell you what to do. And early on, I was kind of like, I don't think you should do this. And I mentally struggled with that. But then at the end of the day, if people want to make a decision, I'm not going to stop them from making a decision.
No,
buy, sell, whatever.
Pricing, anything. I told them that.
Yes. But I'm not doing anyone a service if I give them guidance to say, like, I think the price is here when I don't think the price is there.
No, you aren't.
You're not helping them. You're telling them, this is what I think gets you the best outcome. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's not my job to tell you what you want to hear. It's my job to tell you what I think is the best option for you. You don't have to listen to me. You can do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it is very important that we think about this as how do we help people and then allow them to be powerful in making those decisions and not hold those personally.
And I think when you're a new agent and you don't have a lot of business, like it is easy to do that when you have a lot of clients because the risk, of a client getting super upset with you and something happening is like, well, there's nothing I can do on that. I do think it's really important for new agents to learn that quickly because you will grow. Like you gotta believe and you gotta trust that they will, at scale, 99% of your clients are going to appreciate that communication and they're going to like you for that, even if it's worse for them, because they don't want somebody standing there telling them exactly what they want to hear if it doesn't work out.
And the last thing, even when you're a new agent and you don't have much business and someone's like, I want to give you this listing, but I want to sell it at this price that is $50,000 above what you think it's worth, right?
You have to tell them.
If you don't, and you go, oh, I got a listing. This is great. I'm going to get on the market. Like, I need to make some money. I got to sell this house.
It's not going to sell.
You're going to spend all the money and time and effort on the front end setting this up. It's not going to work. Then you're going to have really uncomfortable conversations because it didn't work. And then you're going to have to figure out how to get the price to come down. And then you're going to have, like, it's going to be such a headache on the back end. You don't want to, it's no different than like, a new agent that's a buyer agent that's like, I gotta sell a house, and so I'm just gonna like help them buy this house. It's not a great house, whatever. Like you hear that story all the time. That client is then gonna call you and be like, what the hell? This thing broke, this thing broke, this thing. You never want to try to sell anything. You never want to try to make money through this process. Your goal is to just be helpful and do the great. Like we've talked about this a billion times.
Just got to be helpful.
Be focused on being helpful. Focus on doing a good job, because then you're going to actually going to have more clients come to you versus like, oh, this person's having a bad experience or had a bad experience with me. Now I got to figure out all this other stuff that makes me way more uncomfortable than if I just had been uncomfortable and pointed out all the things that were wrong on the front end.
The other thing that I think is interesting as a new agent scales, this is a super side note, but I've realized as you get more sales, as you have more pending sales, as you have more buyers, more sellers, the scale creates so many more uncontrollable issues that you have to deal with that I never thought about, because now I'm like, I tell everybody now, it's like something comes up and I'm like something's always coming up every single day. And it's so stressful when you haven't dealt with it. But dude, if you are planning to scale your business, just as a super note, like get ready for just having issues all the time and just tell your clients, like that's literally all that happens. It's just issues coming up, because at scale, there's gonna be so many things you can't control.
Yeah.
So many things.
Well, there's just more stuff.
And you have you have to remember the issues that you've solved, the problems you've solved.
Never, yeah.
And you have to realize when another one comes up, if it's the same. Or I think at this point, I tell people, I say, if any issues come up, that's what I'm here for. I'm the problem solver. I'm the fixer. Mm-hmm. And I have dealt with everything in real estate. Or if a new problem comes up, it is directly adjacent to something that I've also already done.
And I have everybody set up to help us fix something like that, i.e. the bored sewer line on Hannah's house, that on our sister's house,
we figured it
went through the limestone. I was looking at this like, I don't know idea what this is.
And I had a bad septic system 8 years after the house was built. And have I dealt with that before? No, but I've dealt with that sewer system. I've dealt with other sewer things. I've dealt with non-compliant septic systems. Like this thing turned into like easement with a golf course.
Oh yeah,
just
that one
was a crazy amount of things, but it was an adjacent problem to something I'd already done.
Yep. And if you are not surrounded by somebody that has the knowledge, it's literally somebody. I don't care. It doesn't need to be us. It can literally be anybody. You need to be with an agent that's done it. So you got to be able to call somebody that's answered these questions and fix these problems.
Yeah, and this is like, it's not even like, we've talked about this. This isn't even a recruiting pitch at this point. Like, but like, that's one thing that I think now that I'm, I don't know, 6 or 7 years into this. My kids made fun of me because I jokingly said that yesterday. I think that might be the biggest problem that new people coming into the industry don't, like, if you fail in this industry, it's likely because you haven't done that. Mm-hmm. That's the number one thing, if you're new to the industry, that you need to do. Because like we've seen people that are smart come in, and then there's been a coaching component, there's been a thought component, there's been a mentorship component, there's been a lead component, but there's been a way to like help them scale and grow. And it works like every time.
Yep.
But there's been really smart people that I've seen come into the industry not do that. Be like, I'm gonna just go solo, I can figure this out. And it fails like every time.
Oh, I have no idea what I would have done if I didn't have AJ.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like AJ had Jeff and Lindsay. Jeff and Lindsay had like, it's like every person, if you surround yourself,
no idea where to start.
You gotta find someone who's like, they know what they're doing.
They've done it.
And not only do they know what they're doing, they care about helping me have success.
Yeah.
And they're gonna try to find a way to create opportunities for me to have success.
And then you learn as much as you can over 2 to 3 years, and then you start to kind of mold it into whatever you're gonna do. Because eventually you learn this is how you do this, and then you have an idea.
And then you give back to the next generation.
But without, William had a boiler the day before closing issue yesterday. And it's like, well, how many times have I dealt with an issue before the day before closing?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
5 a year. I mean, like that's just, And so
he's a perfect example though, because he's going to be amazing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's already doing a great job.
But if
he's on his own, he'd be like, what do I do?
That's how I would have been. I would have been, what am I going to do? I don't know. I wouldn't have made it.
And in 5 years, he'll be selling 30 houses, and he'll probably be then helping somebody else.
If somebody is smart enough to reach out to him.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all we have today on the Nerdy Agent Podcast. As always, remember, be better.
Bye-bye.